How's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are having an absolutely fantastic day. I hope you look out your bedroom window and you just see a bright and sunny day outside, you know what I'm saying? But I actually have quite the banger for you guys today. So I want to say that it's been about like 2 or 3 days since Springtrap actually was released into Dead by Daylight. After many hours of actually playing as Springtrap and playing against him, I think I have quite the video in store for y'all. And I also, before I get into my actual opinion about the killer, I do want to state that I am a killer main, so I think that I know what I'm talking about here. I'm not just some weirdo that's only played Survivor, never touched killer, has no idea how killer works, just bitching, crying, and moaning because I got tunneled out. Like that's not what's happening here. That's not what's happening. I genuinely, as a killer main, I think Springtrap's a little bit too powerful, and I get why he's a DOC killer. I get why he's gonna be a little bit stronger than other killers. You know, it's just like Smash Bros, for example. There's always going to be some characters that are just a little stronger than others, but I think Springtrap is a little bit too powerful. And in order to actually explain why I think he's too powerful, I'm going to have to actually get into like the different attributes of his ability, because it's not necessarily that Springtrap excels at one thing. It's that he has a little bit too much of everything. He has a projectile, he has access to haste, undetectable, a teleport. Like they had no chill. They genuinely just went all out with his ability, like giving him access to everything. And this becomes a problem because you can pair it with different perks. Like for example, if you genuinely, like if you want to make this killer busted, just run full aura read. If you know where the survivors are at, pretty much most in the game, there's nothing to be done. Like perks like Discordance, Barbecue and Chili, Gearhead, Alien Instinct, just perks like that, like they're just insane on this guy. And it's mainly just because of like certain attributes that he has that he can just abuse, especially since like the doors usually spawn right next to a generator. But in order to make this video as simple and easy to explain as I possibly can, I'm going to break it down into 4 different parts. For each part is going to represent its own attribute of Springtraps that I think needs to be nerfed, or maybe one or multiple of these areas need nerfed. But I think it's best if I actually just leave that for you guys to decide. So why don't you let me know in the comments down below which attribute you think is the most powerful of Springtraps. But let's just go ahead and get straight into it. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get on to the first attribute that makes him, in my opinion, just too powerful, and that's the axe. So if you didn't know this already, there's already been a character in the game with an axe, and that character is Huntress. So Huntress throws her axe. It's just gonna keep going this direction until it eventually despawns. So it's just gonna work like that. So that's Huntress's axe, right? But Springtrap's axe doesn't work this way. Springtrap's axe is actually weighted, so it'll fall back down on the ground after being thrown, making hits like this. Considering this as a wall, a hit like this is now possible. You can literally hit a survivor from over a wall, and that's not even just talking about like the pallets you can hit over with. If you can genuinely sit here and tell me that this is not broken, then get off my channel and then come back when you've actually played Dead by Daylight. This is unfair. This is not okay. There's no circumstance ever where a killer should have access to a weighted projectile like this, because it genuinely just makes pallets, windows, walls, almost anything else you could think of useless. This is the #1 thing that I think needs to be nerfed. You know what? I'm not even gonna say that they need to get rid of the weightedness to it. I have a different solution. So when Springtrap pulls out his axe, he can actually, if he decides he isn't gonna make the hit, he can just put it away and then get his full running speed back like it never even happened. And this, in my opinion, is the biggest issue. The #1 way that I would nerf this killer is make him commit to throwing it when he pulls it out. He pulls out the axe, he can't put it away. He just has to decide to chuck it in one direction or another. It doesn't matter. He just has to get rid of it. He can't just put it back down and get his full chase speed back. I think he should have to throw it, tank the slowdown, and then continue the match like normal. There's no way that he should be able to just take out the axe or just decide that he just wants to put it away like it never even happened. He should have to commit to it. And I think forcing him to commit to throwing it, I think kind of nerfs the fact that it's just a broken axe that you can just any direction and probably get a hit. It's just unfair. It doesn't work. And there's also like a few add-ons you can use to get like a haste boost. I actually really like that. I think that was a really cool addition into the game. One that I personally actually use when I use Springtrap, because I don't like using the broken add-ons he has. I don't really like using the undetectable one. I just bring the 1, I'll chuck the axe at the ground and just take the haste boost. Like, that shut down so many chases earlier than it should have lasted. But with that, I want to go ahead and get on to the next attribute. Alright, so this is another thing that in my opinion, I think needs to be nerfed. So if you didn't know, when Springtrap comes out of one of his security doors, he actually gets undetectable for 20 seconds. There's an add-on you can use to add an extra 10 seconds to that, or 50% to it. I don't think the issue is undetectable itself. I just think that undetectable shouldn't be base kit. I think undetectable should come as an add-on, and that, like, because just giving him undetectable on top of the axe, on top of the teleport, on top of, it's just too easy. I can't tell you how many times I've just went through a security door that was right next to a generator, and there was some kind of wall like blocking in between it, so I just sneak around the corner and just pick them up right off the gen like it was nothing. Like, it's just too easy. It's just too easy. And that's not the only problem. It's hard to counter. It's not fun to play against. Like, I've genuinely played Survivor against Springtrap, and I'm like, dude, what even is this? And don't get me wrong, I think he's a fun character. I mean, he's fun to play against, I guess, but it's just like, it's not fair. It's not. Like, he's genuinely, in my opinion, one of the most broken characters in the game. I even put him up there with Ken Kaneki. I think he's just a little bit, he's just too much. There's too much going on. Okay, so this one's going to be a bit more complicated than the others, but bear with me. For the third attribute we have here, we have the fact that he has the ability to teleport toward, like, right next to a generator. He doesn't get to teleport directly on it, but he gets to teleport directly next to it, which kind of makes him more broken, and I'll explain why here in a minute. There's another killer in the game that I know nobody in here probably even knows he's in the game, because his pick rate is so low. I'm pretty sure like less than 1% of people actually play this killer. But I'm actually going to be talking about Freddy Krueger, because he's the only killer that actually also can teleport to a generator. But the thing that makes Freddy's teleport bad compared to Springtrap's teleport really good, he can get undetectable before he teleports. Springtrap teleports to a door that could be facing towards or away from the generator, and if it's facing away from the generator, you're gonna have undetectable, so you can literally just sneak around and get a hit. Freddy just lets everybody know the second he teleports there. He's just, poof, I'm here. Springtrap kind of sneaks his way there. So yeah, in any way you want to put it, Springtrap is obviously going to be stronger than Freddy. I think this is another key issue with his gameplay. I think because they're trying to stay true to Springtrap's lore. The second you get in chase with Springtrap, you get downed. And I mean, that's just how the game works too, if you've ever played Five Nights at Freddy's 3. The idea is not to get away from Springtrap. It's to just not get caught. It's to trick him into thinking you're somewhere you're not. It's just, you're not supposed to play against him. You're supposed to play around him. Alright, and so for the fourth and final crash out that I have about Springtrap, we have, what the fuck are these cosmetics? The only valid one was the Matthew Lillard, I think that's his name, cosmetic that was actually like cool. The rest of them were so dumb, dude. Like, where's Foxy, bro? Where's Jack-O-Lantern Chica, bro? Where's Nightmare Freddy, bro? Where's Golden Freddy? Where's all the OGs, bro? What is this new, like, what is this Gen Alpha Five Nights at Freddy's that everybody's been on, dude? Where's the stuff that I grew up on, man? What is this? Anyway, guys, I really don't have a lot more to say. I think the biggest takeaway is that they need to nerf that axe. I think making him commit to it would be a really great way, because it would make him waste a lot more time, especially because there's been a lot of chases where I've pulled out an axe and then put it away. In fact, I put it away more often than I actually throw it when I pull it out. And I think it would just be a great nerf if they just nerfed that axe a little bit. And I think another thing is the undetectable. I think the undetectable is just too broken for its own good. I think it shouldn't be base kit, because there's just too many other add-ons already that are just broken. I think that using undetectable, it should only last like 10 seconds, and it should take an add-on and maybe like another add-on if you want to add an additional 5 seconds to it. Being able to sneak up on somebody from the beginning of the game, especially if you pair the right perks with it, it's just too much. And I love the character. I think they did great on the design. I think the behavior did a great job, like with the Mori. I think they stayed pretty true to his overall character. But I just think he's just a little bit unfair. That's the only thing. And I know behavior does have a tendency that they'll drop something and then they'll like kind of release a patch a week later after everybody spends their money on the new best killer. Then they'll drop like a patch a week later and then he's ass. But I don't think that's going to happen with Springtrap, really. I don't think they're going to nerf him, or at least not for the time being, but I think that they really need to. I just think there's just too much going on. As a killer main, I'm over here complaining about how strong a killer is. I think that should be like a eye-opener, if anything. If you have a killer main complaining that a killer is too broken, that should be all you need. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. You know, if you're new here, I'm a fairly new content creator myself. If you guys would like to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. You know, I've been trying to focus on quality over quantity recently with my content, so that's why I haven't really been posting as much, like not daily. More so like an every other day type of thing is what I think I want to do from here on out. But I'm probably going to go ahead and call that a video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.